I've been seeing some wild stuff on Twitter regarding Naruto's speed, with some people claiming he isn't even light speed. So in this super long video I will be clarifying what it means to be light speed and why Naruto is likely even faster than light speed, despite how goofy that sounds. I will be going over every light speed feat and statement to prove this level of speed is pretty consistent. I will bring up literally every example I can think of. Some of these will be either hit or miss, but ultimately it's up to you as the audience to decide whether it makes sense or not. Hopefully this video will be quite exciting with new feats and statements that you probably never heard of. I know some of you will probably ignore this, but I'm also going to attack every supposed debunk, so please watch the whole video before you decide to comment because it's starting to get a little bit annoying now. Now for some reason if I forget to cover something, please feel free to comment down below what that may be. So I think we should probably start with a quick definition of what light speed is and its relevance in power scaling discussions. Light speed is a speed at which a beam of light which is made of photons travels in a vacuum at a physical constant of roughly 300 million meters per second, give or take. Light is considered a universal speed limit, since approaching light speed would mean that time slowly comes to a freeze, causing you to warp space-time and travel into the future. Nevertheless, scientists today theorize that warp drives could fold space to cover a distance faster than the speed of light, so it's not impossible to do something like this. In science fiction, it's convenient for ships like the Millennium Falcon from Star Wars to move faster than the speed of light to reach intergalactic distances in short amounts of time. As an audience, we're not going to wait forever for your favorite character to reach the other side of the universe. Neither are they. However, comic book characters like Superman and the Flash can do it in sheer speed alone. Notoriously, lightspeed travel and beyond has been used as a writing device to show how fast characters are in Western comics. However, this would extend over to Eastern manga, which were originally inspired by comics, and this would be the start of what is known as shonen style manga. Even though beyond lightspeed travel shouldn't be possible, neither should you be able to talk while a beam of light is traveling a short range realistically. Fiction just tends to ignore these inconsistencies, so you have to make a few realistic concessions. I personally take these inconsistencies with a grain of salt, since most authors aren't physicists, yet the intent for lightspeed movement is usually quite clear. The earliest lightspeed claim for early Naruto that I can think of is when Kakashi introduces the substitution jutsu. He uses the example of switching Naruto's shadow clone with himself so quickly that his shadow has been left behind. This has been used to say that Kakashi can move faster than the speed of light, and while I think it's possible, this is just teleportation jutsu. I also feel this is pretty disingenuous because the example is meant to depict that something is visually missing. It's also most likely comic relief. We see Chunin later on, who should be nowhere near lightspeed, be able to do things like leave their shadow behind, so I doubt lightspeed movement was the author's real intent here. Our first real and most famous early Naruto lightspeed feat comes as early as the Land of Waves arc, in which Team 7 confront the two mercenaries Zabuza and Haku. Our first childhood trap Haku is considered stronger than both Kakashi and Zabuza in their own estimations. We know that he uses the Ice Release Kekkei Genkai in order to use the demonic mirroring ice crystals jutsu, in which he creates mirrors in order to travel between them. Haku is moving so fast that it looks like he isn't even moving and is existing within all the mirrors simultaneously. It's suggested that he's traveling between the mirrors at light speed, the same way light reflects off shiny surfaces, since that is how mirrors work. This is also confirmed by the official dub for the anime, which claims this.
These mirrors only reflect my image, allowing me to transport myself at light speed. Through my eyes, you appear to be moving in slow motion.
Where people begin doubting this is when Zabuza is surprised that Sasuke can keep up with Haku, but what people miss is in the next panel, Haku claims that he doesn't want to kill Sasuke, which makes it pretty clear that he's a good person and begs Zabuza to not get involved. This even has Zabuza questioning Haku's real intentions and whether he's even still on the same side as him, so he begins to rile him up so he can begin to use his true speed. Haku up until this point is intentionally holding back against Naruto and Sasuke to avoid killing them. Once Haku uses his ice mirrors, Sasuke is getting blitzed by his senbon and isn't even able to see Haku move. But Sasuke is beginning to realize that his wounds are superficial and are intentionally missing his vital organs. Sasuke then gains his second Sharingan Tomoe and is supposedly catching up in speed with Haku, which makes no sense since he struggles to keep up with Rock Lee, who just about can avoid sound, in the Chunin exams shortly after this arc. However, on closer inspection, Haku is not claiming that Sasuke is moving anywhere near close to the speed of light and is rather claiming that his perception is becoming better. As we learn later, the Sharingan allows Sasuke superhuman precognition by analyzing the muscle fibers and patterns of his opponent to predict where they will move. This would be equivalent to Sasuke sidestepping to avoid a bullet before the trigger of a gun is even pulled. This is known as aim dodging. No matter how good this ability is for Sasuke to predict where somebody will move, Rock Lee proves that being able to see somebody's movements doesn't mean they're fast enough to physically match their speeds. So even though Sasuke can see Haku reflect between the mirrors because of a Sharingan, that doesn't mean he can physically move that fast. He can only guess where Haku will be because he can see Haku, then move there first before Haku even has had the chance to move, rather than physically moving at the speed of light. There is one example of Sasuke physically matching Haku's speed in all fairness, however Haku is not reflecting and is rather leaving the mirror to attack Naruto. In this example, Haku is most likely holding back to not kill Naruto, as I mentioned earlier, so I can't with fair intention give this feat to Sasuke. The first Naruto databook on 2 separate occasions confirms that Haku does in fact move at the speed of light. A lot of people have a problem with the databooks and claim it can't be used because it's not official first source Naruto material. Despite being supplementary material, it is officially licensed by Shonen Jump and is literally said to be a book that is informative. It's like an encyclopedia that gives facts on places, characters and their jutsu within the world of Naruto, so it should be taken with 100% seriousness. It's also said to have been written by the author Kishimoto and his team, who have always helped flesh the series out. In fact, Sasuke wasn't even Kishimoto's invention, it was Shonen Jump's invention, who wanted Naruto to have a rival character at the last minute. So imagine if the Shonen Jump team hadn't suggested it and allowed Kishimoto to go ahead with his original plans. There literally would have been no Sasuke. Now there can be a few statements within the databooks that are hyperbolic and also even poetic sometimes. I get that. However, we have to take a look at each statement case by case. Otherwise, it could be very silly and use the same logic to write off statements and feats in the manga just because 1 or 2 might be inconsistent or hyperbolic. Do you see how stupid that sounds? So in this case, we know that there's a lot to support the fact that Haku does reflect off mirrors at the speed of light, so these 2 statements should be valid. Now, there are only 3 characters that can be scaled to Haku's speed during this arc, that being Kakashi, Zabuza, and Naruto. Before you freak out, let me explain why. When Kakashi had Zabuza pinned down, he set the Raikiri up and rushed towards him. In what felt like no time at all, Haku created a mirror beside his master Zabuza and intercepted Kakashi at the speed of light. I know many people think that this is a speed blitz, but what if I told you it wasn't? I'm not denying that Kakashi was outsped here. However, he did manage to cover some distance in the time it took Haku to move over. In fact, a calculation that I will link down in the description tells us that Kakashi traveled 33% of the distance that Haku did in the same amount of time, so it should scale to 1/3 the speed of light. Zabuza by default is also around that speed since he can keep up with Kakashi. He might be a bit slower even. The most interesting person I think you guys will think scales to Haku's light speed is Naruto, but this is Naruto only after transforming into a form known as KN0 to avenge Sasuke, in which he's granted a small but unknown amount of Kurama's chakra, which Kakashi momentarily mistook for Zabuza's, however realizes that he's even more evil. Zabuza also notices that Naruto's chakra is now greater than Kakashi's chakra. Naruto then goes on to completely overpower Haku, putting him on the defense and outspeeding him, trying to escape his mirror at likely full speed in order to survive. We know that Naruto uses Kurama's chakra later against Neji during the Chunin exams. We don't know how much Kurama's chakra he uses against him, so I can't say that Neji scales to that kind of speed either, since for all we know Naruto could be using even less of Kurama's chakra than he did against Haku. Kakashi is 1/3 the speed of light. However, since the Chunin exams, he's been training intensively because he was so badly embarrassed against Orochimaru. In order to protect his students, he'd been rock climbing, and even shown to be capable of opening the first gate, which multiplies your capabilities by 5 times. After training, Kakashi can now confront Itachi. Despite being so slow that he can't even perceive his hand seals, Kakashi still created a water wall to block Itachi's casual water fang bullet jutsu, which is stated in the second data book to be a light speed attack. While this could be an exaggeration, Itachi's Tsukuyomi was also said to be unstoppable even if you can move at the speed of light, which I think is referring to Kakashi being the speed of light. To further back this up mathematically, in the Itachi Midnight novel, Itachi noted a single second in the Tsukuyomi is around 10 picoseconds in the real world. I don't think you guys quite understand how insane that is. The first time Itachi uses Tsukuyomi, 70 years passed in a fraction of a second, which means he can process and feed that kind of information at speeds much faster than the speed of light. I'm not going to try and calculate this. If one of you guys want to try do it, please do so. Granted, this is more related to how quickly he can activate the Tsukuyomi and trap you in a genjutsu. It does also show light speed consistency. Now back to the point, Kakashi blocking the Water Fang bullet jutsu at point blank range with the water wall can be calculated 2.5 times the speed of light. Another character that scaled to Kakashi during this time is Kabuto, who after taking the Hyrugan is said by Jiraiya to be on par with Kakashi, which is also backed up by the official fanbook. Tsunade, who is also Kage level, who manages to outclass and leave her in a sticky situation. Naruto steps in to help Tsunade against Kabuto, but it doesn't go well for him, obviously, and leaves him badly hurt. However, Naruto's self-belief in becoming Hokage allows him to briefly compete and injure Kabuto with the Rasengan, meaning that Naruto with the mental amp is likely around light speed and possibly even faster. Moving on to the Takigakure novelization, which is also adapted into an anime OVA, is set in between the Search for Tsunade arc and the Sasuke recovery mission. Team 7 are assigned a C-rank mission to escort a ninja named Shibuki to his hometown. An evil jonin called Sukin drinks the hero water and multiplies his chakra by 10 times. He was styling on Naruto by using, I quote, light speed hand signs and punching him across the lake. But Naruto, after using Sama Kurama's chakra, created a cloak to enter KN0 like he did against Haku and beat Sukin up to ultimately defeat him. Another scaling method we can use to get Naruto light speed is during Naruto and Sasuke's first fight at the Valley of the End. Sasuke stabs Naruto, which causes him to use Kurama's power and begins to overwhelm him to the point that he finds it hard to track him. With only 2 Tomoe, he had no problem seeing Haku's reflections, claiming that they look slow, but he struggles to see Naruto's movements. So depending on how you interpret this feat, Naruto could be faster than light speed here. Sasuke then evolves his Sharingan to his 3rd and final Tomoe, and he's able to see Naruto's movements pretty clearly and avoid them without any difficulty. During this fight, both Naruto and Sasuke use, I quote, their utmost strength, which does suggest that Naruto is quicker than he's ever been before, meaning he's bare minimum light speed, which makes sense since this is the first time Naruto has grown a tail due to the overwhelming amount of Kurama chakra that he's using. Sasuke also transforms using the curse mark, which gives him a temporary boost in power and speed, but it's still not enough to keep Naruto off him. So Sasuke then transforms even further into the second state of a curse mark, which is said to multiply the user's chakra and power by 10 times. It's also suggested that he becomes that much faster too. All we can say for sure is Naruto and Sasuke do seem relative in speed, so they should be multiple times faster than the speed of light. The final light speed of part 1 comes in the anime when Naruto, Hinata, and Choji go to the land of vegetables to save it from the Jonin brothers. Their leader Renga is the oldest of 3 brothers and uses the ice release Kekkei Genkai like Haku did in order to turn the moisture particles in the air into ice discs. Using the ice disc jutsu to form his ice into a larger lens, the user can use to hover above the sky to focus rays of the sun into a powerful beam. It's capable of melting and exploding the pinpointed area that it targets, allegedly being able to burn down an entire mountain range. But when used like this, the beam can be reflected onto the user or somebody else using a reflective surface. As a natural sunbeam is traveling towards Naruto, which travels at the speed of light, he's able to deflect it off his headband to hit Renga. While this wouldn't make Naruto exactly light speed, it shows that in his base form he is approaching that kind of speed. Keep in mind, during the Kakashi Retsuda novel that happens obviously much later in the series, it tells us that special Jonin, who are officially ranked below normal Jonin, according to the first official fanbook, are capable of pulling off lightning and fire style ninjutsu that can move at the speed of light. So this just confirms that you don't need to be a god tier to be firing light speed attacks. Even a former shinobi turned mercenary called Ashimaru threw a flashbang at Konohamaru, who, let's be honest, isn't exactly the fastest Jonin in the universe, was able to react to. Somehow after the flashbang hit the floor and the light was travelling towards Konohamaru's eyes, he was quick enough to cover his eyes before the flash even reached his eyes, which proves that he might be close to light speed himself. In OG Naruto, the Onbu Black Ops are stated to attack in a flash of light, which might just be a hyperbole to suggest that they're really fast. However, the Japanese version claims that they attack at light speed, which might not be that far-fetched considering that they are S-rank ninja and most of them are Jonin. Another potentially light speed statement comes in Naruto Shippuden from a character called Minfune, who is the leader of a samurai, and is stated to be able to use a jutsu called Isen, which by definition quite literally translates to flash, unsurprisingly being described as a light speed sword in the 4th data book. Take that as you will. It's used alongside Darui's laser circus during the war arc, which too is suggested to be a light speed attack, since the user controls, I quote, rays of light. Although light beams shouldn't curve, Darui uses storm release, which is implied to refract lightning with water to bend the beams, which is scientifically plausible. Of course, a lot happens in this 3-year time skip, however it's hard to pinpoint exactly how much faster Naruto is. Bare minimum, his base form should be close to the speed of light, if not faster, due to his training with Jiraiya. We know that he can use up to 4 of Kurama's tails against Orochimaru, each tail making him significantly faster than before, so it's possible that Naruto at full speed is now many times faster than he was in part 1, as he can keep up with Akatsuki members. In spite of that, where people start doubting the light speed scaling again is when Sasuke fights his brother Itachi. Although a lot of evidence suggests that Itachi is light speed, as I mentioned before, he still only manages to barely avoid arguably Sasuke's fastest jutsu, the Kirin. The issue people have here is that Kirin was stated by Zetsu to be incorporating natural lightning, which reaches the ground in 1/1000th of a second, even claiming that it was undodgeable because it covers the entire range of a hideout and Itachi is way too fatigued to react to it, in his estimation. Which sounds about right, however, is still nowhere near the speed of light. So if that's the case, how can either Itachi or Sasuke be light speed? Well, this is because Zetsu, after witnessing Sasuke potentially heat up the air to create a thundercloud, fairly hypothesized that Sasuke was out of chakra and was gonna redirect natural lightning. Judging his speed was just an assumption based off the information that he had gathered, and it was even disproven in the very next panel. Sasuke lifts his hand and it turns out that he does have enough chakra to shape the natural lightning in order to form a dragon. A surprised Zetsu then questions how Sasuke managed to, I quote, tame lightning, which means he has gained unnatural control over this jutsu, which suggests that it isn't simple redirection anymore, and may be much faster than before. But exactly how fast is Kirin after Sasuke has managed to tame and reshape it? Well, it stayed on two separate occasions to be a light speed attack. The third data book claims that it was as fast as a flash of lightning, which technically could still be considered light speed because of a flash. However, this translation is blatantly wrong anyway. The original Japanese says verbatim that it's a light speed attack. The second statement is from the official second fan book, which also confirms that Kirin is a light speed attack pretty clearly. Of course, shortly after being thrown, Zetsu is once again wrong, and a fatigued, nearly dead Itachi manages to react and block the Kirin with his Susanoo. Of course, Zetsu is quite infamous for speaking crap, like when he claimed that Itachi was invincible with his Susanoo despite knowing of Kaguya since he's Kaguya's will. So be careful with how you interpret the things that Zetsu says. He isn't exactly the most reliable person. This brings us on to our next potentially light speed feat from Medieval Path of Pain during Konoha's invasion. Medieval Path uses Shinra Tensei and Bansho Tenin to attract and repulse things with gravitational waves. Now you could argue that he isn't using gravitational waves, but that would be straight up wrong as a fourth data book confirms that he literally is. For those of you who don't know, gravitational waves, like any form of radiation, move at the speed of light, as they have zero mass. When Pain used the Shinra Tensei to try and headshot an injured Kakashi with a nail, Kakashi was fast enough to use the Kamui to teleport the nail away before it even reached him. So this is most likely another light speed feat for Kakashi. Naruto is stated to have surpassed Kakashi during this arc. Naruto is stated to have surpassed Kakashi in the arc prior, so should be able to at least move at light speed. Naruto then also goes through extensive training to use Sage Mode, which should provide him with a larger amp than the second stage of a curse mark, since it's a more perfected Sage transformation, meaning that he's possibly over 10 times faster than the speed of light, but it's up to you how you interpret that, since I'm not really a fan of using multipliers in Naruto or any other verse like One Piece or Bleach either, since this would kind of fall under what I call CALCS stacking. And let's be honest, I don't really think the author from arc to arc is trying to calculate the speed of the protagonist through multipliers. Naruto pushes his speed even further when he gains up to 7 and 8 of Kuruma's tails and is on the verge of a full Biju transformation. Kakashi claimed that when unrestricted, Kuruma's chakra would grant Naruto 100 times his own chakra. Now this doesn't mean Naruto is necessarily that much quicker than Kakashi, because chakra size doesn't exactly correlate to speed. But please keep in mind that Naruto, when partially transformed, clearly got a speed boost that even Pain with his full power restored couldn't keep up with. Now we have that out of the way, the most famous lightspeed statement of Shippuden is probably the Lariat. The Lariat, according to the 4th data book, is a jutsu that requires lightspeed movement in order to be performed. The first person to react to the Lariat is Sasuke, who initially was overwhelmed by Killer Bee, but manages to see and avoid a 3 tails Biju Cloak Bee's Lariat. Base Sharingan Sasuke pretty easily flips many times in order to avoid it, and is arguably much faster with his Mangekyo Sharingan active. Sasuke is temporarily caught off guard by another Lariat, but this only comes after he captures Bee in a Genjutsu and deactivates his Mangekyo Sharingan thinking that he's won. And from here on out, characters you'll see are starting to get considerably faster than Lightspeed. Naruto is also able to outspeed A's fastest punch, which should be even faster than the Lariat. We know that he's at least light speed because of a Lariat, but A can increase his speed even further by using his lightning chakra mode, which he does against Naruto. However, people doubt his speed because they assume that he's a lightning release user, so it should only be lightning speed. This is pretty dumb since remember that Jonin in Kakashi Retsuden, he used a light speed lightning jutsu. It should be pretty obvious that the natural elements in Naruto can be reinforced with chakra and sped up. Not all lightning release users are all the same speed. They do all use natural lightning, but with their chakra control they can increase their speed. So lightning speed is like a bare minimum basically. But back to the feat, the Raikage uses his speed against Naruto and Killer Bee to stop them from entering the 4th Shinobi World War. The Raikage loads up his fastest punch, which should be faster than a lariat, and prepares to kill Naruto. While Naruto is fully focused, he manages to not only completely avoid it, but outruns it by a pretty large margin, to the point where people consider it a speed blitz. For those of you who don't know what a speed blitz is, it's basically just the act of somebody attacking their opponent before they're capable of even reacting to them. In versus battle debates, most people consider the minimum speed to do something like this around 5 times the opponent's speed. I'm not going to be using this as like a multiplier or something, but I think you should just keep that in mind. From what I know, the most controversial part of this feat is exactly how much more ground Naruto covered than the Raikage. Most calculations tell us that he outsped the Raikage's light speed attack by something like 10 to 50 times. I'll link all of the different calculations that I know of in the description if you want to see all of them and choose the one that you think is the fairest. The next person who avoids the Raikage's fastest punch during the Jonin days was Minato, and he actually made this punch look like it was moving in slow motion while at point blank range, so it might actually be the most impressive reaction. He'd already flipped his kunai, left it spinning in the air, and teleported to another kunai, teleported to the kunai that was spinning in the air to strike from behind. This feat is calculated to be roughly around 50 times the speed of a Raikage, which is significantly quicker than Naruto's feat. In Naruto's defense, it could be argued that the Raikage was slower back then, because it was later claimed by C that the Raikage was as fast as a Yellow Flash. This is also confirmed by the 4th Data book. However, the title of Yellow Flash might just be referring to a younger Jonin Minato. Surprisingly, the Raikage has another light speed feat, and it unironically comes from what people believe is a debunk for light speed Naruto. During the War Arc, in order to teleport objects across the planet, Mabui uses a jutsu called Heavenly Transfer. While being transferred, the object is engulfed in light and moves through a bolt of lightning at the speed of light. This is also confirmed by the 4th Data book on several occasions, so there's literally no debate that this is a light speed traveling feat, so there's no doubt that is the speed it functions at. The reason it's considered a debunk is for 2 reasons. The first is, if the Raikage A is truly light speed, then why are they concerned about being killed? The answer is pretty simple. The Raikage is confident that he can survive the transfer, but he doesn't know if Tsunade can. It turns out the 2 of them in their base forms are capable of surviving the transfer, so if anything, the fact that they can survive it might actually imply they are light speed, which would actually be proven. The second problem is, why would they need the Heavenly Transfer Jutsu to reach Madara if they're already light speed in the first place? Couldn't they in theory just run from a shinobi headquarters to the other side of a planet in an instant to fight Madara without using the Heavenly Transfer if they are light speed? Well, the problem here is, just like most other shinobi, despite having supernatural powers, most of them do not have supernatural stamina. How many times have we seen these guys tire out after only using a few jutsu and throwing only a few hundred strikes? So even if they were light speed, how can we expect them to run across the world, which would, just for reference, require nearly 50 million steps? It's completely unrealistic stamina for those types of characters. The only 2 characters who have ever shown that kind of speed and stamina are god tiers like base form Naruto and Sasuke at the end of the series, when they run to the Valley of the End. More interestingly, while the Raikage and the Hokage are being transported by the Heavenly Transfer at the speed of light, both of them react with speed. What I mean by this is, Tsunade throws a kick and the Raikage throws a punch at Madara and Kabuto before the transfer is even complete, as shown by the lightning and the flash of the Heavenly Transfer still being visible and active. Both of them can increase their stats even further after this too. The Raikage has his Lightning Chakra mode, and Tsunade has her 100 healings, a form that pulls all of her chakra that she had gathered and stored within her yin seal over years to heal the body and also increase her stats. Similarly to the first gate, according to the Sakura Hidden novel, it releases the body's physical limiters placed on it by the brain, which is said to be a 5 times increase in speed, meaning that the Kage should at least be a few times faster than the speed of light, and probably much quicker after being lightened by Oniki's Boulder Lightning Jutsu, which, just for reference, lightened an entire island to the point where Oniki could lift it. The same goes for when he lightened that meteor that Madara summoned. So if they're becoming that much lighter, imagine how many times faster they're becoming. Now moving on to characters who I think are actually faster than the Kage, are much faster than the speed of light. Base Form Might Guy in early Naruto was considered by Sasuke as shockingly faster than Kakashi. He even managed to threaten a suppressed Itachi who was much quicker than Kakashi with only his raw taijutsu, so it should be 2.5 times faster than the speed of light, since that's what we calculated Kakashi to be. This is consistent with the fact that during the War Arc he can easily kick Haku alongside Lee before he even has a chance to reflect out of his mirror. So people consider this a bit strange since War Kakashi struggles to react to Edo Haku's reflection, but in all fairness, I think this just suggests that Kakashi is holding back, which you'd think is common sense because Kakashi is mentally conflicted with fighting Haku and Zabuza again. Kakashi clearly shows that his true speed in actuality is closer to 6th Gate Guy's level of speed, since together they fight version 2 Biju shortly after. Therefore, it would practically be impossible for him to still be below base Might Guy speed and light speed at this point in the series. The first gate, as we all know, pushes the physical limitations of a body from 20% to 100%, so if base Guy is 2.5 times the speed of light, then the first gate would make him roughly around 12.5 times faster than the speed of light. Each gate could possibly give him a 5 times increase in speed, but there's no confirmation for that. The 4th Dat book claims that the 8th gate grants Guy a multiplier of several dozen times. Several at its lowest means 3, and dozen at its lowest means 12. So the multiplier at its lowest is 36. So we're looking at 8th Gate Might Guy reaching speeds of at least 90 times the speed of light, which in all honesty is still a massive lowball. Anyway, 6th Path Madara can easily deal with Guy's speed despite him having the help of Minato, Kakashi, Gaara and Rock Lee. Minato, as we all know, is roughly around 50 times the speed of light and then activates Sage Mode, which Naruto claims is faster than an incomplete Kurama Chakra mode. Even though Minato claims to be bad at using Sage Mode, the self-criticism is targeted at his inability to properly infuse nature energy with his own chakra. Other than that, he's pretty much a perfect Sage who has fewer defects than Jiraiya did and can instantly enter the form. The Sage transformation is far more complete than the second stage of a curse mark, so it could at least be a 10 times increase in speed. If that is the case, then we could be looking at Minato reaching something like 500 times the speed of light. And many people think that this form allows him to reach Madara levels of speed. People famously bring up the case that Minato can turn his back to teleport Madara's truth-seeking orbs away while making them look as if they're moving in slow motion. The truth is that the truth-seeking orbs are likely slower than what Madara's actual speed is, because we've literally seen Madara speedless Sage Mode Minato earlier during this fight. Guy also most likely slowed down his speed in order to match Gaara's sand footholds and allow Rock Lee to throw Minato's kunai in order for them to create an opening for him. And Madara is just being outsmarted rather than outsped. Now the main debunk for faster than light speed Naruto that I always see used most commonly is Madara using a jutsu called the Light Fang. Now I reckon everybody who follows Naruto knows about this. It's stated in the 4th Dat book that the Light Fang is a light speed attack. However, the problem with this is people think Naruto only reaches light speed around this period because he dodges the laser at point blank range. There's no emphasis on this being an impressive speed feat, and Madara is not even impressed by Naruto easily dodging it. There is, however, massive emphasis on it being a beam that can cut through all things, so it might be the fact that it's a slow attack, but it could have killed Naruto. It's said that the Light Fang is impossible to evade, but Naruto unironically evades it pretty easily at point blank range, so I probably wouldn't take that specific line too seriously. Realistically, Naruto and Madara should be much faster than the Light Fang, so I think we should just brush it aside to avoid anti-scaling. Which, for example, would be like me saying Goku is only the speed of sound because we recently saw him dodge a bullet, despite having consistent feats to show that he's much faster than that. You'd think that'd be common sense, but you'd be surprised how stupid people are nowadays. If this sounds a little bit inconsistent, we can use something I'm not really a fan of using, and it's a transformation multiplier. This should be pretty straightforward, so it should be fine. In the Sakura Hida novel, which is directly shown on an official timeline alongside the manga that is connected to the main canon, we learn that this novel is set during the blank period, and Sakura took on a rogue ninja called Kido, who's an Onbu Black Ops captain. As established earlier, even your run-of-the-mill Onbu is said to be able to attack at light speeds. In the current era, most Onbu are made up of former members of Danzo's Root or Leaf Ninja Jonin. So Kido being below light speed wouldn't really make any sense at all. I mean, he should at least be close to light speed in all honesty. But back to the novel, Kido consumes this tailed beast drug and was the only Onbu capable of transforming into a purple version 2 Biju with 9 tails, something that we've never really seen before. Now this drug was created by combining the blood left by Naruto losing his arm at the Valley of the End with the DNA of a Sage's 6 Paths. Taking this drug supposedly made Kido a threat to Naruto. The transformation increases Kido's power and speed by, I quote, several orders of magnitude. Several means at least 3, and magnitude means 10. So 10 times 10 times 10 is 1000, which sequentially means that Kido is most likely 1000 times the speed of light, and Sakura was capable of keeping up with him. Later in the new era of Boruto, Sakura wasn't deemed strong enough to go with the Kage, who stood at the top of the world. Base Naruto is faster and stronger than each of the Kage and outperforms them against Momoshiki. A holding back fused Momoshiki can speed blitz the rest of the Kage, but not base form Naruto, who briefly keeps up with them. So base form Naruto is a speed blitz level above Sakura, who is at least 1000 times the speed of light. Lowballing, let's say that Naruto is just 1000 times the speed of light, even though he can blitz that level of speed, and can then apply Sage Mode, 6 paths Sage Mode, and Kurama Mode, which are all arguably 10 times multipliers or above. But that's up to you. Like I said, I'm not really a fan of using multipliers, so if you do like using that kind of stuff, let me know what kind of results you get down in the comment section. Momoshiki during his fusion with Kinshiki after consuming him also began to drain chakra from outside of his dimension. Sasuke deduced this by noticing a stream of chakra stemming from Momoshiki to all the way outside of his dimension, and a transformation lasts around 20 seconds. Momoshiki's dimension contains stars within it, so using the average star distance that humans can see in a starry night, Momoshiki's chakra travelled billions of times the speed of light. Momoshiki, like other characters in the series, can use his chakra to attack and should scale to the speed of his chakra, since we have seen consistently many characters avoid their own chakra and others' raw chakra, such as Team 7 reacting to Kaguya's raw chakra, exploding out the earth on 2 separate occasions. Urashiki also has feats similar to this in anime, and this is because these kind of aliens fly around in space, so it does narratively make sense. Toneri mentions that a comet has entered the constellation in episode 8 and says that the time of harvest is near, referring to the Otsutsuki arriving soon. He's referring to Urashiki as he is the only Otsutsuki flying around through space. He arrives on the moon during episode 53, in which Toneri says that he's been expecting him. So Urashiki managed to travel from outside our constellation to the moon in a span of 45 episodes. We know that Boruto is 11 during the beginning of the series, and Boruto celebrated his 12th birthday on the 27th of March during episode 51, so almost a year could have passed. Himawari celebrated a birthday on the 1st of August during the episode Urashiki arrived on the moon, meaning it took Urashiki at most 492 days to reach the moon. Toneri is most likely, and lowballed, talking about the closest constellation to Earth, that being Centaurus. The Centaurus constellation is approximately 4,000 to 5,000 light years away from Earth, give or take. So we'll just lowball and say that Urashiki traveled 4,000 light years in 492 days. So that would mean that he'd been traveling at approximately 2,973.79 times faster than the speed of light. These calcs are from point A and B. He was most likely checking star systems and planets with moons looking for Toneri, so he's potentially much faster than these calcs. Fun fact, Naruto, without even being able to use any of his chakra at all, in the Naruto Retsuden novel, dodged a photon beam while on his bike, and later fought hundreds of drones that can spam lasers casually and didn't get hit once. So imagine if Naruto had used his chakra, let alone activate his strongest transformations. Like imagine the difference between a normal human being and a person who can use chakra. During the Kara arc, Naruto faces Delta, who supposedly fires light beams, which Naruto barely manages to dodge on a few occasions. Firstly, the beam is never stated to be a light beam or laser, so I'm not sure why people claim this is like a debunk, and Naruto is only light speed after all of these years. Both the official translation and the original Japanese call Delta's attacks destruction rays. This also means that we can't really use it to measure speed at all. We don't really know how fast Delta's destruction beams are. I assume that they're fast enough to hit Naruto, so much faster than the speed of light. Of course, Naruto gets faster after activating what is called his trump card, Barian mode, in order to fight Urashiki. He can easily move fast enough to catch a rod that Sasuke struggled to even perceive. Because Sasuke was Naruto's equal before Barian mode, this suggests that Naruto is a perception blitz quicker than his previous power. But it doesn't end here, because the form works very similarly to nuclear fusion, which might suggest that Naruto's speed is actually exponentially quicker than you think. When a star constantly undergoes this process, it produces billions of times the amount of energy that it started with. Keep in mind that this form burns up Naruto and Kurama's at least a few days worth of chakra in only a couple of minutes. So I'm not going to put a number on it, but it seems pretty obvious that he is getting exponentially quicker, and is exponentially quicker than the speed of light at this point. Ultimately, it's really up to you as an individual to decide how seriously you take these statements, feats, and calculations. What I really wanted to get at is that Naruto has been light speed for a while now. It's actually a lowball to say Naruto is light speed. That brings me to the end of the video. Thank you for watching and hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you disagree with anything I had to say or have your own thoughts about Lightspeed Naruto, let me know down in the comment section what you guys think. Please check out my other Boruto and Naruto related videos. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my future videos. Until next time, peace out.